the government, federal government, rose to the challenge, and this is a great success story. As the states are reopening now, May will be a transition month, and I think you'll see by June a lot of the country should be back to normal, and the hope is that by July the country's really rocking again.
I think that provides significant economic assistance, even though the numbers are coming in very strong. A good jobs number on Friday, declining unemployment. We've created over 9 million jobs in 3 months. That's a record. But there's still a lot of hardship out there. There's a lot of heartbreak out there. And the point that President Trump made yesterday is that on several occasions, we tried to get, for example, a compromise deal on the unemployment assistance, which ran out, the federal unemployment assistance. That's a key point.
Jared Kushner back in April and Larry Kudlow yesterday. And Steve Rattner, what are they talking about? You have charts.
Well, what they're talking about is their spin on the economy, and this is the yin and the yang of politics now, and it underlies, obviously, these executive orders and memos. The Republicans want us to think the economy is recovering rapidly, and the facts are not quite the same. So let's go back to Friday's jobs number and take a look at how that fits into the recent historical perspective. And so what you can see on this chart is obviously the dramatic drop in jobs in March and especially obviously April. You see recovery in May. You see a reasonably strong June. And then this 3-month job record that Larry Kudlow is touting includes 1.8 million from last month, but you can see the enormous deceleration from 4.8 million in June to 1.8 million in July. I think all of us who follow this stuff think it's a direct consequences of states opening and then having to close again as the virus spread. And I'll show you other things about the slowdown in economic activity. The bottom line is we've lost 22.2 million jobs since this started. We've only regained 9.3 million, and at the rate we're going, it is months, perhaps even longer, before the economy fully recovers. So if we can turn and take a look at the unemployment rate, which was also reported on Friday, and there was a decline there again to about 10.2%. And so again, you can see unemployment coming down steadily through the recovery. You can see the jump up in the spring. You can see where it's come down to. But if you look at what economists are currently forecasting, they're looking for just under 10% right around Election Day. There are only 2 more jobs reports before Election Day, and that would only bring us back to where we were in November of 2010. So the president will be claiming unemployment is coming down, things are getting better. The reality of where we will be at that point in time is going to be a place no president wants to be when he's fighting for re-election. And these numbers confirm other data that we're seeing about general slowdown in the return to normalcy here, again, as these states have to close and reopen and so forth as they fight the virus. So this last chart is one from the Chase Bank, which tracks consumer spending on their credit card. And again, you can see the same kind of pattern, sharp drop off during the spring as we went into shutdown, lockdown mode. You can see then a steady recovery. But when you get to the middle of June, that recovery stalls out, and we are sitting at roughly 10% less consumer spending every month than we had a year ago, and not really getting better at the moment. And lastly, I would say there are indications out there that I don't want to be in predicting jobless numbers, which are so hard to predict right now, but when you put all this together, along with other data about layoffs and people not being returned to work, some people being laid off a second time, it does scare me and worry me about a possible August pretty bad jobs number and other economic data that we're not going to like. And so all of this simply confirms that we needed another package. You had unemployment insurance expiring. You have the payroll protection program has expired now. And this is why Congress needed to act. And this is why the president is trying to look like he's acting, even though there's very little that's going to help this problem in his package.
We certainly need another package passed, whatever that looks like, whatever compromise Democrats and Republicans can come up with. You're right, Steve. A lot of economists are worried that August, September, October may limp along. And Michael, still, just looking at the numbers as they are, and if we end up above 10% at the time of Donald Trump's re-election attempt in November, you're going to have 2 messages. You're going to have Larry Kudlow bragging about how great the economy's doing. We picked up X number of jobs in the past 5 months. It's a record. And then you're going to have Democrats talking about unemployment over 10%, unprecedented hardship across America. It didn't have to be this way. How do you sort through that? How do you think that breaks down for voters in the 6 or 7 states that matter the most?
Hey, Joe, it's going to be critical. There's no doubt about how this narrative is received by voters as they turn into September. As you know,
what's a more compelling narrative that you would like to have when you ran a national party? Which of those two narratives would you rather have going into the fall, all things being equal?
Well, you want a narrative in which you can talk about positivity in the economy, where you can talk about job growth and creation, where you can talk about a stabilized, financial sector where businesses are investing and small businesses in particular are taking advantage of those opportunities because they are the engine that creates jobs. But this is the reality of it. It's not like you're creating jobs. People are going back to jobs they already had. They're being rehired. The administration is walking as if these are new jobs, that this is somehow, freshly minted employment. These are folks who are just getting back to where they were. And now you layer on top of that, there's still uncertainty about what the fall looks like in a world of COVID-19. We don't know that. These rosy scenarios are not taking into consideration what the doctors, the scientists, and the researchers are telling us lies ahead. So voters are now sort of putting all of this into perspective. So despite the rosy packages that are being rolled out by the administration, as Steve just laid out, the numbers for candidates on the ground to go into town hall meetings, virtual or otherwise, are going to tell a very different tale. That's why what you see happening coming out of the Senate is so important to hold that majority, because you just can't go out and sell this idea that, well, we cut the payroll tax. Well, no, you didn't. You deferred it. So as an employer, I got to pay that on the back end. So this mixed messaging is a problem for the administration.
I think you're right. I'm just going through it in my head, listening to you, trying to figure out what message I'd rather deliver to a town hall, a town hall meeting before an election. And you can say, hey, things are getting better. But if you sound like Larry Kudlow and talk about how great the economy is and it's record breaking, you're going to make a lot of people inside that town hall meeting very upset. They're going to look at you and say, oh, well, you're a creature of Washington. What do you know about the pain that my family and I have been through over the past 6 months? So there is a real danger in taking that positive tack. At the same time, of course, Democrats are going to want to be focusing on how, and I think the strong message is, Mika, that this is the worst economy collapse since the Great Depression. And it didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this bad. If the president had moved in late January, like Joe Biden had told him to move in late January, if he had used the Defense Authorization Act and started Defense Production Act and started an aggressive testing regimen, started an aggressive regimen as it pertained to all of the other things that we needed to do, if we in fact had a president who acted like a wartime president, because make no mistake, our children are going to look back on this time like it was a war, because their lives have changed in radical ways, in ways that, my gosh, no generation's lives have been impacted, where they just go inside and basically duck and cover for 6 months. And the deaths now up to 160,000. Guess what? We're approaching 3 Vietnams now. 3 Vietnams. More people have died from this, quote, war, which the president said early on. It was like a war. More people have died in this war than American soldiers died in World War I. So this is serious. This is extraordinarily serious, and Americans feel it. And as we move towards this election, it's going to be very difficult for Republicans to come up with a message, especially with this president acting the way he is, but to come up with a message that is going to sell inside that room, that's going to sell on TV that's going to sell on radio. They've got a couple of months to figure it out. But, you know, as we've been saying for some time, early voting begins in a few weeks.
All right. Steve Rattner, thank you very much. Coming up, intelligence officials gathered together last year to write a classified report on Russia's interest in the 2020 election. Now, a new investigation from the New York Times Magazine is uncovering what those officials found. And that is next on Morning Joe.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.